And it's not good.
No, but there again, you know, we're pretty far out from the playoffs. You just want to see healthy and you know, really take as much time as he needs here. You know, a lot of people would be disappointed to come to the arena and not see Sidney Crosby, but you know, these are the facts of life.
Yeah, and the thing is, they have a lot of diversity on this team. They have guys who can play. Jarrett McCann moves up to the #1 spot, and he's a +12 this year. He has shown he can play third line, second line, first line. He can play right wing, left wing, center. He's a really good acquisition for a young player, and he will center that line now. And you know, quite frankly, depth is always going to be tested in sports. You see it every week in the NFL, and in the NHL, they're going to lose guys along the way, and you just have to figure out how to get you know, productivity out of the ones who are back. The good news is Evgeny Malkin is back, and he's been playing well. The other night, I thought he was the best player on the ice.
Yeah, he's you know, he's a tremendous passer when he's really focused, and you know, he's a great advantage to the Penguins and has been for a long time.
All right, let's go to the lines. We got Scott in Mount Oliver first tonight. What's up, Scott? How are you doing?
Hello, Bob Jean, first-time caller.
Well, thank you. We appreciate that. Wish we had something to give you.
I'm calling about Mason. It's nobody's putting nothing in his ear holding the ball and giving up the 2 safeties in back-to-back weeks.
What did you say again? At the beginning part of that, I kind of missed it.
Mason holding the ball too long.
Well, yesterday wasn't a case of that at all. Yesterday, he was just he had no time. As soon as he got back there, it was Aaron Donald already on top of him, and Clay Matthews joined him, and it was like a sandwich. But you're right. Last week, it was a case where he did not feel that pressure, and they were lucky they got away with a safety and not a touchdown. But, you know, that's part of the learning curve. I thought the play that yesterday defined that play was Ryan Switzer fielding the ball. He shouldn't have done it on that punt.
No, he put them in a hole there, but, I mean, I still don't agree with dropping Mason Rudolph into his own end zone. He's too inexperienced to be put in that situation. I mean, for one play at least, under center and do something else.
Or make it a quick hitting. If you're going to do that, make it a, you know, something. Right. He was dropping back 5 steps, it looked like. Right. So that's a dangerous situation. But Mike Tomlin took blame for that one. He said, that's on me. Ron in Johnstown. Hey, Ron.
Yeah, hi. I just want to comment on the coaching job Tomlin was doing. I was one of these people that have never really been sold on him, but I got to give him the credit what it's due. I mean, you know, I know it's early yet, but I think there's some people that are still not giving him the credit for, you know, how he's doing so far. And my opinion is I know it's early yet, but if they would make the playoffs, I think he should be up for maybe a Coach of the Year the way things are going. I just want to make that comment. I think he needs to get his due, because there's times last couple of years I didn't really go for him, but he seems like he's got the personnel and he got him gelling there. So.
Yeah, well, he has a good way of keeping teams together. That's one of his best assets, I think, Gene.
Yeah, I think you know, this is one of his best coaching jobs so far. I mean, I am a Tomlin defender, but he doesn't need me to defend him. You know, the results speak for themselves, but I think he's done a particularly good job with this team, given the circumstances.
I've been a Tomlin defender, too, because I think I look around the league and I see a lot of coaches who couldn't handle this situation. Right. You see guys fired in their first year anymore, second year. They're not waiting on them, and they can't figure out. Adam Gase goes from Miami to the Jets, and now they want him out in New York already. So it's not an easy job, no matter who it is, and you're going to be critical. Look at Sean McVay yesterday. I thought Sean McVay had a horrid game, and I thought Mike Tomlin outcoached him. He's this wonder kid who came on strong, and he's the new generation of coaches. Well, some of his play calling, specifically that fake punt, the way they telegraphed that, I thought was one of the worst calls from his own 30-some-yard line.
Yeah, no, that was ridiculous. You know, putting Goff in there and the other thing, that sequence, you know, looked like someone who hadn't coached before.
All right, let's go to Paul on line 1. He's calling us from Maryland. Hello, Paul. How are you today?
Hey, how you doing tonight? Maryland.
All right, I've been down there. Nice place.
Yeah. Listen, I'm a big Raiders fan, but I got a comparison for it, and I want to see what you guys think of this.
Okay.
Remember 2001, the Baltimore Ravens? They had Trent Dilfer, and they had that great defense.
Mm-hmm.
That Steeler team reminds me of that team.
Do
you agree with that?
Well, so far their defense is playing at a level similar to that. There's no question.
And remember Trent Dilfer? He didn't have that great of an offense. You know what I mean? Right. He wasn't. You know.
But he was more of a journeyman. He's been around a little bit. This is Mason Rudolph's first rodeo, really. So I think he's learning on the fly. But I have a lot of faith that he can get it done. I see things that I like week in and week out. It always seems to start slow, but he figures out a way. I thought their best drive, Gene, was when they needed it the most to take time off the clock, and it led to 3 points.
That was a great drive, and he also made some really good throws. I mean, he's made decent throws in all of his starts, but I thought the touchdown pass to James Washington, you know, he put that ball in the only place he could complete it, and, you know, there was a lot on it. James Washington made a nice play too, but you know, I thought that was a real step forward for him.
John L. Says this in response to Ryan Clark, who hated the Minkah Fitzpatrick trade. He said Clark admitted that he was wrong about that trade yesterday. He's a stand-up guy, will admit when he's wrong. Deion Sanders, on the other hand, refuses to give Steelers credit because he said they were dead at 0-3. A lot of people said they were dead at 0-3. This is why when they made that trade, a lot of people said, what are you doing? You know, you lost your franchise quarterback. You're off to a terrible start. Well, they decided they weren't going to give up on this season. And I think that's a good move to make if you're a management team, especially somebody who can come in here, 22 years old. It's like a first-round pick next year. You got it already.
Yeah, you know, when Ben Roethlisberger was, you know, on the team and starting the first 2 games, the Steelers were considered a Super Bowl contender, even though they got blown out at New England. When you removed Roethlisberger, you could go one of two ways, but the way the Steelers went was they thought they still had enough to compete, and that's the way they acted, and that's why Fitzpatrick's here, and Colbert and Tomlin deserve a lot of credit for that. When
we come back, the long-awaited conversation about load management.
Yeah.
Gene's going to tell us what he thinks about load management next, right here live. It's the Ireland Contracting Nightly Sports Call. We're going to take a break right here on Pittsburgh CW.